friends, I'm Flutter. Time moves so quickly when you're working on your game. How can you get some time back? Well, you might want to cut your scope down. This is something I learned recently, and I thought if I shared my insights with you and what I learned, it might help you avoid any scope creep as you're designing your VR game. One of the jobs that I have is to guide clients through creating their game design document. So right at the beginning of their project, we go through who their target audience is, and then we scope out the project and making sure that it's manageable so they can finish it within about 6 months. This is something I really suggest if you're new, is to create a game that you could finish in about 6 months or a year, because not only will you learn quickly from that, but you can keep up with the VR tech. VR moves so quickly, and it'll allow you to just experiment, keep up with all the changes, and then have a finished piece for your portfolio or for an audience to play. And then after they play it, perhaps that funds your next game that's even bigger. So I think if you're starting out, that's a really good thing anyway. Getting back to my project, I thought, oh, I'm fine. My scope isn't so big. You know, I always am guiding all these people through their scope, so I should know better, right? Well, sometimes it's easier to guide other people and not take your own advice. What happened was a friend reviewed my story and gave me great feedback and asked a lot of good questions. And I just couldn't stop thinking about what she said. And then I realized there was a problem there. I thought, I think that this is kind of getting convoluted, my story, and I'm trying to say too much. I don't know how to simplify it because I do like the current walkthrough, and I just couldn't figure out what to cut out. I also was writing this according to the hero's journey, and so I really wanted to stick to that hero's journey structure and hit on all of those points. That's probably me being a bit of a perfectionist and not wanting to leave anything out. But really, I needed to look at my story, what was my message, and looking at the purpose of what I was doing. It wasn't until I played the game Mosaic. It's a game from 2019, and it's a wonderful adventure game that's very filmic. What I realized that I love about it is it's like being in a film, and there's not much gameplay that you don't have to win. So it's not like it has to be really complicated or really fun to play. You just have to click some buttons to feel like you're participating, but you're not there to gain points or to solve some very complex puzzle. And that's what I like about it, because sometimes I just want to walk through a story and just have fun being in it. That's what I'm trying to accomplish with my VR narrative, is to just have people be in there and experiencing this cool story and, you know, having some mini games or little things they can do, but really the main thing is to pull them through something interesting where they feel like they're a part of the story. After I was done playing this game, I thought, okay, I see that I'm getting really convoluted, and let's be realistic. I'm never gonna finish my game because my features are getting a little bit complex. I'm getting really complex with the characters and their backgrounds, and we need to slash some scenes. So I cut 3 scenes out and a lot of character dialogue. How can you apply what I learned in your game design process? Let's talk about these main points. First, who is your target audience? Who is this for? Why are you creating this game? Something I learned is I needed to go back and look at my target audience. That will help inform what you need to develop. Because if your target audience likes one thing but not the other, you might be actually creating a feature that doesn't go with who you're creating this for. And I hadn't looked at my target audience in a while, and I realized that there were some slight things that had changed. Many of the people that I think might want to play my game are going to be people that are really into art, who enjoy film, enjoy a good story, and actually they might not all be gamers. And this is a great way to introduce people into VR, is creating this filmic type experience. So I thought, oh, here's a really nice opportunity to get people that are interested in that kind of experience to be a part of a story in virtual reality. So that got me really excited and why I wanted to do it. Now, the best thing for people that are new for VR is to not make the gameplay complicated and to make the controls seamless and to make it appear like you don't even know the controls are there, because it's working so well and they're just flowing through the story. Funny thing is that I was so concerned about getting the whole story done and the walkthrough done that I didn't pay as much attention to just having clean controls. And then my friend couldn't even get through the first scene because she couldn't pick up the key object that got the portal to open. So yes, making sure that your controls are perfect and seamless is going to be key so that you're not breaking immersion and people can really be present and enjoy the story that you've created in VR. The advice I often give to clients is to keep, the scope low, and one way to do that is keeping the scenes minimal. Maybe even having one scene, sometimes just having one or two features you're working on, and not having like all these complicated backstories to characters. And really, when we work on the game design document together, we scope out the project in its totality as much as possible. And I really like when people put down all of their ideas, because you want to also show how your idea expands beyond 10 minutes. And if you can show that it is expandable, that's really great to maybe get further funding for your project and get other people to participate in that with you. Like maybe you're looking for other people to program the project for you or some artists. And so it's a good idea to get everything down, but also just really focus in on a smaller gameplay and smaller story, just so you as an indie developer can finish this more quickly. Look at ways how you can simplify your game. Now, mine really came into play of simplifying the story. And what I saw that Mosaic did well was using visual metaphor and sound. And those are things that I really love. So if you look at how you dress a scene, what objects are in the scene, what character do you have? What are they wearing? If you think about films, how they place objects, the color palettes they use, the sounds they use, that furthers the story just as much as dialogue or plot points. So by how you present the visuals and how you present the sound, that's going to help further the story instead of you worrying about creating a ton of features or a ton of backstory or dialogue. Play to your strengths. If you haven't, go check out my Less is More video, because that's a really great video to show you how to play to your strengths and that you may not need just this flashy art, you may not need flashy gameplay, because you want to play to, let's say you're really good at sound, play to that. And let's say you're really good at character development, so maybe the story becomes more important. Maybe you're really great at coding, and so you want to have this one feature you really want to show off. Well, then don't start making the story too complex or you're not going to be able to show that off. So there's just like it's a real delicate balance of making sure you have everything there to make the whole experience enjoyable. But I think playing to your strengths is still something to really think about. Now, after you've worked really hard on this and you're just grinding away all hours trying to finish this, you probably will need a break. I did, and I really had hit that wall. And until I played Mosaic, I didn't know what to do next. So what I suggest is take a break, maybe play a game that you've been wanting to play for a long time. Also, maybe just do a different hobby or a different activity. Visit some friends. Do something that's cook. Do something a little bit different that just makes you enjoy life again. And then that could maybe is when it sparks for you of what to do next in your project. So now that I've simplified my story, I've also simplified the code a lot, and I'm not going to have extra scenes to design as well, so that's really good. And, if I kept changing the story on and on, I would never get done because I'd be maybe changing features, maybe changing what assets I need. And if you constantly are doing that, that's not good either. So really fine tune it the best you can, keep it like maybe a universal theme, keep it small, and get it done. And then just once you're really ready with that story, I think if you can get the story done first, and then some main features or main mechanics you want to put into that, start with that possibly. But I know how it goes. Sometimes you have to edit later. But as much as you can do up front, that always helps. You know, so you're not doing what I did and then be like down the line going, oh my gosh, now I have to cut these scenes. Luckily, I hadn't built those out too much. So if you can, just gray box with primitives, the most basic walkthrough of your game, and then make everything pretty with sound and everything. But get those placeholders in there. Get the most important placeholders in there as well. Like if a certain sound is really important, or a certain weapon is really important, or a certain character is really important, maybe that one's a little bit more finessed than the rest of the gray boxing. But you know, the simpler you can have, the faster you can get through that, the more you can get a new iteration ready and then keep moving forward. Yeah, and if you keep changing things, you're not going to know your time frame. So if you can really focus in, and it'll help you with also knowing when you can finish. And now I'm really glad that I have more confidence now that I will finish this game this year. Now my game is really only probably a 10 to 20 minute game. I can play it in 10 minutes, but that's because I made it and I know what exactly to do. So I'm assuming people will probably take about 15, 20 minutes to get through it. Now, is it replayable? Maybe not, because it's a story. And that's, you know, that's kind of a con to what I'm doing. But maybe people will want to be in the space. And I have some ideas of that later. You know, maybe I'll open up some of the environments that I create in the story later for people to just be in. We shall see. But the most important thing is that I've cut this down. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that from learning how I cut the scope of my project, it will help you avoid any scope creep that could be happening in your project as well. Thank you so much. Until the next video, I really appreciate your support, and I'm looking forward to sharing more of these creative processes with you in the future. Thanks so much, friends.